Hi. Nice to see everybody. Hello, hello. It's nice to see everybody. How about we start with a little monologue that I found from an adaptation of Dracula by Ross McGregor. Here's how it goes. Listen to your heart, to the secrets in your blood. In all my long life, I've longed for only you. I can offer you a love that will last forever. From beyond the grave, can this man promise the same? All the pain that he caused you, all the little sacrifices, the 1,000 hopeless defeats. Was it worth it? Being a good wife? A loyal, obedient little woman, denying yourself what you want, what your body wants. It's so hard, isn't it? To live in a world where every single man that you meet wants to put you in a box, in a bed, in a kitchen, on a pedestal. There's so many rules to keep you small, to keep you quiet. And is it worth it? This man abandoned you, belittled you, betrayed you, lied to you, and now he begs and pleads for your forgiveness. Is that the existence that you want? Short, flawed, and pointless. Our life can be so hideous when you cannot change it. And you were meant for so much more. Come with me. Take my hand. Leave these children to their books, their schemes, and their vanity. Come with me now into the moonlight, and we will sleep for centuries. Dance across time, watching the world burn around us as the sun sputters and dies. And then we'll rise like wolves, like the hunter, and go out into the night and begin a new world with strength and pride and glory as equals into the night. That was a monologue from Dracula, adapted by Ross McGregor. Hello, nice to see you too. I have been missing you too. We're going to be doing some spooky requests today. Well, how come you keep missing me? Is there a list of audiobooks that I've done? Yes. If you tap on my name up there, go through to my profile and click on my link, you will find a list of books that I have released on Audible currently. I'm currently working on a book by Kat Blackthorne that I'm very excited about. It's called Ghost, the Halloween Boys. Oh, hi, everybody. The author name is Kat Blackthorne, K-A-T. I am on Quinn, yes. In fact, the first 3 episodes of my vampire series just got released on Quinn. I think the 4th one is about to come out. Heretic. Yeah, so if any of you have noticed my content output has been a little bit less frequent lately, it is because of the smoke in Seattle, unfortunately. The air quality around here has not been great. I feel like I'm smoking a pack a day. Yes, I do have an air purifier. The problem with having an air purifier in my studio is that it emits a lot of noise, and you wouldn't be able to hear me. Well, I don't sound like it right now because I've actually spent this entire afternoon indoors and just resting my voice. Oh, thank you so much for the flowers, Nessa. Thank you, Dream Tree. Well, let's get started with some requests, huh? The first request is from Tigress Katie. And I get, just FYI, I get all of my requests currently through the Discord. Do I even have a QA function yet? Lightning QA, text poll. No? All right. I do requests through my Patreon Discord. So if you would like to participate in the requests, my Patreon is available. And if you join the Discord, we would love to have you. I open a thread every week to put requests in. So the first one is from Tigress Katie. It's called The Operation. On the farthest point of Long Island, the last scrap of land that still counts as New York, there sits a tremendous abandoned building, protected by its own isolated location. There is also at any given time 2 to 3 security guards there. However, if one approaches the cast iron gates on the night of December 4th, you will see that on this night, even those few security guards refuse to work. The gates are left unlocked, and the wind will be utterly still, a nearly opaque fog filling the peninsula. Go directly to the main doors and step within. There will be a single long hallway, the end occluded by that fog. If you look to either side upon entering, you will see a modern operating room through a glass door. The further in that you walk, the older the equipment will get, and the more old-fashioned the doctors will be dressed. When you can finally come upon the end of the hallway, the screams of the patients will be nearly deafening. The hall will terminate in an open door leading to a single wooden table where a man in woolen medical clothing stained brown from blood will be bent over a corpse. The body's face will be covered, and the man will turn silently, screwing the top onto a cloudy jar of liquid filled to the brim. He will hand this abnormally heavy object to you before turning back to his work. Instantly, you will be outside of those cast-iron gates. From that point on, disease and injury will never affect you. But if you ever open that cloudy jar and pull out the contents, you will find a heart pulsing and beating loudly in your palm. A sudden feeling of horror and revulsion will pass through you as realization strikes that you have just pulled your own living heart from within your chest. Ah! Is this what I look like? This is what I look like. I assume you came from Quinn. Never open the jar. Oh, yes. I did receive a request through Patreon. In general, for everyone, the requests I would prefer they would come through Discord, if you are so inclined. But here's the request from Patreon. It's an excerpt, a monologue from American Psycho. And it goes like this. My pain is constant and sharp, and I do not hope for a better world for anyone. In fact, I want my pain to be inflicted on others. I want no one to escape, but even after admitting this, there's no catharsis. My punishment continues to elude me, and I gain no deeper knowledge of myself. No new knowledge can be extracted from my telling. This confession has meant nothing. From American Psycho. I think Halloween lands on a Monday, doesn't it? Ooh, that'll be fun. The tea is lovely. It's turmeric tea, which really helps with my throat. You know, I feel like I would be a bit too rugged for a Patrick Bateman. I feel like he needs to be a little bit more clean cut. I mean, I could go clean cut. That's not a problem. But I don't love going clean shaven. If I ever did that, I feel like everybody would unsubscribe from me. I am currently growing my hair long, though. That's happening. It's hard to tell right now because I'm keeping it well contained. But at some point, it's gonna be unruly. Oh, thank you. All right, next request is from Amanda. And it's called Ghost by Cynthia Huntington. At first, you didn't know me. I was a shape, moving rapidly, nervous. At the edge of your vision, a flat, high voice, dark slash of hair across my cheekbone. I made myself present, though never distinct. Things I said that he repeated, a tone you could hear but never trace in his voice. Silence, followed by talk of other things. When you would sit at your desk, I would creep near you like a question. A thought would scurry across the front of your mind. I'd be there, ducking out of sight. You must have felt me watching you, my small eyes fixed on your face, the smile you wondered at, on the lips only. The voice on the phone, quick and full of business, all that you saw and heard and could not find the center of, those days growing into years. Growing inside of you, out of reach, now with you forever in your house, in your garden, in corridors of dream, where I finally tell you my name. That was Ghost by Cynthia Huntington. I know. I missed you too. I would. So the disclaimer not to listen to my audios while driving is actually across the board. Don't listen to my work while operating heavy machinery, please. I don't want to be responsible for somebody getting injured. Oh, are some of you working while listening to this live? Naughty, naughty. And how is that going for you? Knowing that within your ears is this little vibrating voice that just clears the thoughts out of your mind, pouring this slow sensation through your body. There's nothing to do now but enjoy. Somebody has a case of the Mondays. I blamed Sammy for that one. And now a request from Phantom's Rogue. It's called The Witch in the Glass by Sarah Morgan and Brian Piat. Or it's just Sarah Morgan, Brian Piat. My mother says I must not pass too near to that glass. She is afraid that I will see a little witch that looks like me, with a red, red mouth to whisper low the very thing I should not know. Alack, for all your mother's care, a bird of the air, a wistful wind, or, I suppose, sent by some hapless boy, a rose, with breath too sweet, will whisper low the very thing you should not know. I wonder what the very thing you should not know is. Is it the key to your own power? Ooh. So I had someone send me a very kind message recently saying how listening to my work and sort of getting back in touch with themselves has helped them to understand their own value and be more discerning in the types of people that they romantically pursue. And that for me is such a beautiful affirmation of why I do this in the first place. So, keep working at it. And if you can hear the construction going on next door, it'll add a nice little flavor to the experience. What are we going to do for Halloween? Well, it might have to be a special, spooky, spicy Red Light Live, don't you think? All right, the next request is from Sammy. It's called Nightcrawler. From The Riddles of Life, Louis Cortez, 2022. You won't ever see it in the daytime, because any sunlight can damage its eyes. But when the night shows its lunar glow, it comes crawling out of its given disguise. But it soon grew bigger, stronger, and too fast. Hunters found evidence that proved it all true when they discovered the remains of a local pack. It catches its victim by surprise and in a death grip, going for the throat so its prey can't make a sound. Now some people have since gone missing, and random body parts are found outside of town. This beast refines its hunt and keeps within shadows and dwells inside the silence of being alone. It carries its kill high up into the trees at will, hearing the tearing of flesh and the crunch of bone. If it doesn't see you, it'll certainly smell you, 'cause it can pick up the scent of fear. Any move you make can be a fatal mistake. The Nightcrawler can surely make you disappear. That was from The Riddles of Life by Louis Cortez. Thank you, Sammy. Welcome, everybody. It's been a pretty good day so far. I finished another chapter of Ghost by Cat Blackthorn, which I'm trying to get done by the end of the week, but the smoke has been making that difficult. So this may be close to a Halloween release. We'll see. And then I rested my voice. A hint of my Halloween costume? A hint. Rock and roll. That's the hint. From Nessa, the Witch, by Mary Elizabeth Coleridge. I have walked a great while over the snow, and I am not tall nor strong. My clothes are wet, and my teeth are set, and the way was hard and long. I have wandered over the fruitful earth, but I never came here before. Oh, lift me over the threshold and let me in at the door. The cutting wind is a cruel foe. I dare not stand in the blast. My hands are stone, my voice a groan, and the worst of death is past. I am but a little maiden still. My little white feet are sore. Oh, lift me over the threshold and let me in at the door. Her voice was the voice that women have, who plead for their heart's desire. She came, and the quivering flame sunk and died in the fire. It never was lit again on my hearth since I hurried across the floor to lift her over the threshold and let her in at the door. Ooh, Frankenfurter. That's a good guess. Come up to the lab and see what's on the slab. I see you quiver with anticipation. And now a request by Miss Earthquake. This poem is called A Very, Very Serious Love Poem with a Zombie in it. In this love poem there is a zombie with a meaty body and a raw face. She won't be stopped by heavy tanks firing armor-piercing shells, nor by the flamethrowers mounted to the chassis. She's after your heart, and when she gets it, she'll eat it. In a dark corner, while it's still pumping blood, 98.6 degrees at the correct temperature for steeping delicate white tea. Plur. Ba-boom goes your disembodied heart, like the dainty fountain in the lobby of the Ramada Inn you stayed at when you left her for a weekend conference. Flight 942, service to Louisville, no food service, pretzels only. And despite this gory feast, she loves you, until death do you part. And even after that. That's good. Hello, Ukraine. I'm so happy to have you here. I am so sorry for what's happening to your country. Let's see. Is there a scary version of saying "good girl"? What would a scary good girl sound like? Well, now hasn't that been wonderful? You're mine now. That's my good girl. And now a request from Kalila. From one of my guilty pleasure movies, actually. I secretly love The Queen of the Damned. It's so 90s emo, but it's kind of awesome. And you know, I just like it. Because it's like it was the movie that it was a movie that came out when vampires were still cool and not cheesy. So, you know, anyway. There comes a time for every vampire when the idea of eternity becomes momentarily unbearable. Living in the shadows, feeding in the darkness with only your own company to keep, rots into a solitary, hollow existence. Immortality seems like a good idea until you realize you're going to spend it alone. So I went to sleep, hoping that the sounds of the passing eras would fade out and a sort of death might happen. But as I lay there, the world didn't sound like the place I'd left, but something different. Better. It became worthwhile to rise again, as new gods were born and worshipped. Night and day, they were never alone. I would become one of them. From that moment on, they were my friends, my children, my band, giving the world a new god. Me. Is that Lestat? That's Lestat, right? Yeah. Lestat is awesome. Did I watch the new Interview with the Vampire show? I saw the trailer for that. I remember thinking I wanted to watch it. So it's out, apparently. No, I haven't seen it. I really should. What streaming platform is it on? Now, what's the point of an Interview with the Vampire adaptation without being at least somewhat scary? I'll check it out. Do I have reverb on my mic? Nope. This is raw, direct, unfiltered mic audio. I have been working on trying to see how I can filter my microphones through my DAW and do a few more cool sound effects, but that's a work in progress. All right, next request is from Brina. The Ghost by Richard Jones. I live in a house with no windows. A black curtain hangs on my door. The voices of conscience torment me. I live in a room with no floor. There's dirt in the corner I can't see. There's water that runs down the wall. There are mice in the attic above me and rats playing games in the hall. I live in a house with no windows and sleep in a room with no heat. The darkness of life that surrounds me keeps out the sounds of the street. I wake when the shadows have fallen and walk when the memories cease. When purpose in life has no meaning and only the wicked find peace. Each night you sense that I'm by you. You feel my breath as you sleep. You hear the faint creak of the floorboards as out from the shadows I creep. I live in a house with no windows. I live in a house that's now yours. It's my voice you think that you're hearing. For I died in this room with no doors. And if you're just joining me, welcome. It's nice to see you. It's nice to meet you. I am an audio creator. I do audios of all different kinds: meditation, sleep, hypnosis, and a whole range of more spicy, more, intimate audios. So if you'd like to check that out, I would recommend going to my Patreon. Just go to my profile and tap on my link. Captain Marvelous has a request that she would like me to creepify. So we're just going to roll with it, and I'm not going to say what the title is. Sarah, Cynthia, Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour the pots and scrub the pans, candy the yams and spice the hams. And though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so it piled up to the ceilings, coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese that filled the can and covered the floor, cracked the window, and blocked the door. With bacon rinds and chicken bones, drippy ends of ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, orange peel, gluppy glumps of cold oatmeal, pizza crust and withered greens, and soggy beans and tangerines, and crust of black burned buttered toast, and gristly bits of beefy roast. The garbage rolled on down the hill. It raised the roof. It broke the wall. I mean, greasy napkins, cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gum, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery, blubbery macaroni, peanut butter caked and dry, curdled milk and crusts of pie, moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard, cold French fries and rancid meat, yellow lumps of cream of wheat. At last the garbage reached so high that it finally touched the sky. And all the neighbors moved away, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally Sarah Cynthia Stout said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." But then, of course, it was too late. The garbage reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate. And there in the garbage she did hate, poor Sarah met an awful fate that I cannot right now relate, because the hour is much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout, and always take the garbage out. That's my good girl.
Yeah, that was a little bit more growly than I expected it to be. It's like, Smog. BDSM Smog doing a reading of Shel Silverstein.
And how would I do creepy cuddles? Oh, how would I do creepy cuddles? How would I do creepy cuddles? Did you just feel a chill? The air is so cold. The creaks from the rafters are piercing my mind. And all I can do with these numb arms of mine is encircle you and hold you close in a permanent embrace. Creepy cuddles. A permanent embrace. Oh, that's a phrase. Those are a couple of words that should not be used together. How about Witch by Nikita Gill? A request from Becca B. We are the blood of the witches you thought were dead. We carry witchcraft in our bones, whilst the magic still sings inside our heads. When the witch hunters imprisoned our ancestors, when they tried to burn the magic away, someone should have warned them that magic cannot be tamed, because you cannot burn away what has always been a flame.
Yeah, Nikita Gill is one of my favorite poets.
Her and Mary Oliver, definitely.
All right. A little spoken word reading of
One of my favorite songs, actually. Spooky Sympathy for the Devil. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long years, stole 1,000,000 man's soul and faith. And I was round when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain, made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Stuck around St. Petersburg when I saw it was time for a change. Killed the Tsar and his ministers. Anastasia screamed in vain. I rode a tank, held the general's rank, when the blitzkrieg raged and the bodies stank. Pleased to meet you, hoped you guess my name. What's puzzling you is the nature of my game. I watched with glee while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the gods they made. I shouted out, who killed the Kennedys, when after all, it was you and me. Let me please introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste, and I laid traps for troubadours who get killed before they reached Bombay. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Just as every cop is a criminal, and all the sinners saints, as heads is tails, just call me Lucifer, 'cause I'm in need of some restraint. So if you meet me, have some courtesy, have some sympathy, and some taste. Use all your well-learned politeness, or I'll lay your fucking soul to waste. That was Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. Do I have a favorite Halloween candy? Okay, I've gone through evolutions on that one. Early on, it used to be Nerds, and then it kind of evolved into Smarties. Had a big Starburst kick for a while, but nowadays I'm kind of boring. I'm just getting into peanut M&Ms. Peanut M&Ms are my jam, or or chocolate covered almonds, but those are not as common around Halloween. So yeah. I can't say that I've been super into Almond Joys. I mean, I don't know. I just never really got them that much. Skor bars. I was really into Skor bars for a long time. I'm into chocolate-covered coffee beans, but I have this tendency to like to eat many at a time, and chocolate-covered coffee beans will make me stay up all night. I'm very sensitive to caffeine, oddly enough. Yeah, Twix and Kit Kats, definitely. Love those, for sure. My dad used to play pranks on me. He would get me, what's the big, like, it's almost like this peanut taffy candy bar. Is it called the Big Hunk or something like that? And it's super chewy. It just sticks your teeth together. My dad, when I was younger, used to laugh every time he would get me that. Yeah, honestly, I'm a big. Okay, fun fact. Something that I learned: the difference between Europe and the United States. And so, if you're from Europe, you can confirm this for me. Ricola, hard. The little Ricola wrappers in the United States, they are cough drops, but in Europe, they're candies. Is this right? Like Ricolas in Europe are actually really good candies. Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, you go to Europe and you'll be like, why are there cough drops everywhere? In Italy, they call Ricolas un bonbon or something like that. Or maybe that's in France. All right, I'm going to move on with the requests. Gray Topaz requests The Haunted House by Vic Kroom. Vic Kroom, yeah. Not a window was broken. The paint wasn't peeling. Not a doorstep sagged, yet there was a feeling that beyond the door and into the hall, this was the house of no one at all. No one who breathed, nor laughed, nor ate, nor said, "I love you," nor said, "I hate." Yet something moved along the stairs, something that was and wasn't there. That is why the weeds on the path grow high. Even the moon races fiercely by, for something lives above the stairs. Something that is and isn't there.
Yeah, thank you, Julie, for the Halloween request. That poem's going to be a little bit long for me to cover in the time that I have. But I will investigate it for a future audio. So from Nice Trienigma, I'm going to spookify another song. Yeah, I'm not going to say the title of this one either. You can guess and see what it is. Every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day, every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see you belong to me? How my poor heart aches with every step you take. Every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. Every breath you take by the police. Yes, I remember first listening to this song and being like, all right. Certain lyrics don't hold up. Yeah, I feel like that would be somebody should re-record that song and do it from the as a vampire. All right, finally, I have a request for some Poe. Does anyone want me to... Does anybody have any specific Poe requests? I might not get to Alice tonight. We'll see. Yeah, I remember reading The Fall of the House of Usher. That's a very long story. I don't know that I have enough time to read that one, unfortunately. Pick a random page and just start reading. I mean, that could work. I mean, I should probably do Annabelle Lee. A lot of Poe's less well-known works are really interesting. Oh. There's a poem called Lenore. How about I do that one? Lenore by Edgar Allan Poe. Ah, broken is the golden bow, the spirit flown forever. Let the bell toll. A saintly soul floats on the Stygian river, and Guy de Vere, hast thou no tear? Weep now or nevermore. See, on yon drear and rigid bier, low lies thy love, Lenore. Come, let the burial rite be read, the funeral song be sung, an anthem for the queenliest dead that ever died so young, a dirge for her, the doubly dead, in that she died so young. Wretches, ye loved her for her wealth, and ye hated her for her pride. And when she fell in feeble health, ye blessed her that she died. How shall the ritual then be read, the requiem how be sung by you, by yours, the evil eye? By yours the slanderous tongue that did to death the innocence that died, and died so young? Peccavimus, yet rave not thus, but let a Sabbath song go up to God, so solemnly the dead may feel no wrong. The sweet Lenore hath gone before, with hope that flew beside, leaving thee wild for the dear child that should have been thy bride. For her, the fair and debonair, that now so lowly lies, the life upon her yellow hair, but not within her eyes, the life still there upon her hair, the death upon her eyes. Avaunt, avaunt, from fiends below the indignant ghost is riven, from hell unto a high estate far up within heaven, from grief and groan to a golden throne beside the King of heaven. Let no bell toll then, lest her soul, amid its hallowed mirth, should catch the note as it doth float up from the damned earth. And I, to-night my heart is light. No dirge will I appraise, but waft the angel on her flight. With a pan That was Lenore by Edgar Allan Poe. All right, I do have 20 minutes left. I will do another chapter of Alice. So, we are now on chapter 6. Pig and Pepper. Do I have any new audiobooks coming out? I'm currently working on an audiobook. It's a very exciting one. It's really well written, you guys. And the characters are real fun to voice. So, the issue is that the wildfire smoke in Seattle has been really rough lately. So, and this book is relatively long by romance standards. So I am working as fast as I can. I'm trying to get it done while it's still spooky season. But we will see. Chapter 6. Pig and Pepper, from Alice in Wonderland. For a minute or two she stood looking at the house, and wondering what to do next, when suddenly a footman in livery came running out of the wood. She considered him to be a footman because he was in livery. Otherwise, judging by his face only, she would have called him a fish. And rapped loudly at the door with his knuckles. It was opened by another footman in livery with a round face and large eyes like a frog, and both footmen, Alice noticed, had powdered hair that curled all over their heads. She felt very curious to know what it was all about, and crept a little way out of the wood to listen. The fish footman began by producing from under his arm a great letter, nearly as large as himself, and this he handed over to the other, saying in a solemn tone, "For the Duchess, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet." The frog footman repeated in the same solemn tone, only changing the order of the words a little, "From the Queen, an invitation for the Duchess to play croquet." Then they both bowed low, and their curls got entangled together. Alice laughed so much at this that she had to run back into the wood for fear of their hearing her, and when she next peeped out, the fish footman was gone, and the other was sitting on the ground near the door, staring stupidly up into the sky. Alice went timidly up to the door and knocked. "There's no use in knocking," said the footman, "and that for 2 reasons. First, because I'm on the same side of the door as you are. Secondly, because they're making such a noise inside no one could possibly hear you." And certainly there was a most extraordinary noise going on within, a constant howling and sneezing, and every now and then a great crash, as if a dish or kettle had been broken to pieces. "Please, then," said Alice, "how am I to get in?" "There might be some sense in your knocking," the footman went on, without attending to her. "If we had the door between us, for instance. If you were inside, you might knock, and I could let you out, you know." He was looking up into the sky all the time he was speaking, and this Alice thought was decidedly uncivil. "But perhaps he can't help it," she said to herself. "His eyes are so very nearly at the top of his head. But at any rate he might answer questions.
How am I to get in?" she repeated aloud. "I shall sit here," the footman remarked, "till tomorrow." At this moment the door of the house opened, and a large plate came skimming out straight at the footman's head. It just grazed his nose and broke to pieces against one of the trees behind him. "Or next day, maybe," the footman continued in the same tone, exactly as if nothing had happened. "How am I to get in?" asked Alice again in a louder tone. "Are you to get in at all?" said the footman. "That's the first question, you know." It was, no doubt, only Alice did not like to be told so. "It's really dreadful," she muttered to herself, "the way all the creatures argue. It's enough to drive one crazy." The footman seemed to think this a good opportunity for repeating his remark with variations. "I shall sit here," he said, "on and off, for days and days." "But what am I to do?" said Alice. "Anything you like," said the footman, and began whistling. "Oh, there's no use in talking to him," said Alice desperately. "He's perfectly idiotic." And she opened the door and went in. The door led right into a large kitchen which was full of smoke from one end to the other. The Duchess was sitting on a three-legged stool in the middle, nursing a baby. The cook was leaning over the fire, stirring a large cauldron which seemed to be full of soup. "There's certainly too much pepper in that soup," Alice said to herself as well as she could for sneezing. There was certainly too much of it in the air. Even the Duchess sneezed occasionally, and as for the baby, it was sneezing and howling alternately without a moment's pause. The only things in the kitchen that did not sneeze were the cook and a large cat which was sitting on the hearth and grinning from ear to ear. "Please, would you tell me," said Alice, a little timidly, for she was not quite sure whether it was good manners for her to speak first, "why your cat grins like that?" "It's a Cheshire cat," said the Duchess, "and that's why. Pig!" She said the last word with such sudden violence that Alice quite jumped, and she saw in another moment that it was addressed to the baby, not to her, so she took courage and went on again. "I didn't know that Cheshire cats always grinned. In fact, I didn't know that cats could grin." "They all can," said the Duchess, "and most of 'em do." "I don't know of any that do," Alice said very politely, feeling quite pleased to have gotten into a conversation. "You don't know much," said the Duchess, "and that's a fact." Alice did not like at all the tone of this remark, and thought it would be as well to introduce some other subject of conversation. While she was trying to fix on one, the cook took the cauldron of soup off the fire and at once set to work throwing everything within her reach at the Duchess and the baby. The fire-irons came first, then followed by a shower of saucepans, plates, and dishes. The Duchess took no notice of them even when they hit her, and the baby was howling so much already that it was quite impossible to say whether the blows hurt it or not. "Oh, please mind what you're doing," cried Alice, jumping up and down in an agony of terror. "Oh, there goes his precious nose!" as an unusually large saucepan flew close by it and very nearly carried it off. "If everybody minded their own business," the Duchess said in a hoarse growl, "the world would go round a deal faster than it does." "Which would not be an advantage," said Alice, who felt very glad to get an opportunity of showing off a little of her knowledge. "Just think of what work it would make with the day and night. You see the Earth takes 24 hours to turn around on its axis." "Talking of axes," said the Duchess, "chop off her head." Alice glanced rather anxiously at the cook to see if she meant to take the hint, but the cook was busily stirring the soup and seemed not to be listening, so she went on again. 24 hours, I think, or is it 12? Oh, don't bother me,"
said the Duchess. "I never could abide figures." And with that she began nursing her child again, singing a sort of lullaby to it as she did so, giving it a violent shake at the end of every line. "Speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy because he knows it teases." And the cook and baby joined, singing "Wow, wow, wow." While the Duchess sang the second verse of the song, she kept tossing the baby violently up and down, and the poor little thing howled so that Alice could hardly hear the words. "I speak severely to my boy, and beat him when he sneezes, for he can thoroughly enjoy the pepper when he pleases. Wow, wow, wow." "Here, you may nurse it a bit if you like," the Duchess said to Alice, flinging the baby at her as she spoke. I must go and get ready to play croquet with the Queen," and she hurried out of the room. The cook threw a frying pan after her as she went out, but it just missed her. Alice caught the baby with some difficulty, as it was a queer-shaped little creature, and held out its arms and legs in all directions, just like a starfish, thought Alice. The poor little thing was snoring like a steam engine when she caught it, and kept doubling itself and straightening itself out again. So that altogether, for the first minute or two, it was as much as she could do to hold it. As soon as she had made out the proper way of nursing it, which was to twist it up into a sort of knot, and then keep tight hold of its right ear and left foot so as to prevent its undoing itself, she carried it out into the open air. "If I don't take this child away with me," thought Alice, "they're sure to kill it in a day or two. Wouldn't it be murder to leave it behind?" She said the last words out loud, and the little thing grunted in reply. It had left off sneezing by this time. "Don't grunt," said Alice. "It's not at all a proper way of expressing yourself." The baby grunted again, and Alice looked very anxiously into its face to see what was the matter with it. There could be no doubt that it had a very turned-up nose, much more like a snout than a real nose. Also, its eyes were getting extremely small for a baby. Altogether, Alice did not like the look of the thing at all. But perhaps it was only sobbing, she thought, and looked into its eyes again to see if there were any tears. No, there were no tears. "If you're going to turn into a pig, my dear," said Alice seriously, "I'll have nothing more to do with you. Mind now." The poor little thing sobbed again, or grunted. It was impossible to say which. And they went on for some while in silence. Alice was just beginning to think to herself, "Now what am I to do with this creature when I get it home?" when it grunted again so violently that she looked down into its face in some alarm. This time there could be no mistake about it. It was neither more nor less than a pig, and she felt that it would be quite absurd for her to carry it further. So she set the little creature down, and felt quite relieved to see it trot away quietly into the wood. "If it had grown up," she said to herself, "it would have made a dreadfully ugly child, but it would make a rather handsome pig, I think." And she began thinking over other children she knew who might do very well as pigs, and was just saying to herself, if one only knew the right way to change them. And when she was a little startled by seeing Cheshire Cat sitting on the bough of a tree a few yards off. The cat only grinned when it saw Alice. It looked good-natured, she thought. Still, it had very long claws and a great many teeth, so she felt that it ought to be treated with respect. "Cheshire Puss," she began, rather timidly. She did not at all know whether it would like the name. However, it only grinned a little wider. "Come, it's pleased so far," thought Alice. She went on, "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" "Well, it's a very good deal. It depends a very good deal on where you want to get to," said the cat. "I don't much care where," said Alice. "Then it doesn't matter which way you go," said the cat.
So long as I get somewhere, Alice added as an explanation. Oh, you're sure to do that, said the cat, if you only walk long enough. Alice felt that this could not be denied, so she tried another question. What sort of people live about here? In that direction, the cat said, waving its right paw round, lives a hatter. In that direction, waving the other paw, lives a March hare. Visit either you like. They're both mad. But I don't want to go among mad people, Alice remarked. Oh, you can't help that, said the cat. We're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad. How do you know I'm mad? Said Alice. You must be, said the cat, or you wouldn't have come here. Alice didn't think that proved it at all. However, she went on. And how do you know that you're mad? To begin with, said the cat, a dog's not mad. You grant that? I suppose so, said Alice. Well, then, the cat went on. You see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now, I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad. I call it purring, not growling, said Alice. Call it what you like, said the cat. Do you play croquet with the Queen today? I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet. You'll see me there, said the cat, and vanished. Alice was not much surprised at this. She was getting so used to queer things happening. While she was looking at the place where it had been, it suddenly appeared again. By the by, what became of the baby? Said the cat. I'd nearly forgotten to ask. It turned into a pig, Alice quietly said, just as if it had come back in a natural way. I thought it would, said the cat, and vanished again. Alice waited a little, half expecting to see it again, but it did not appear, and after a minute or two she walked on in the direction in which the March hare was said to live. I've seen hatters before, she said to herself. The March hare will be much the most interesting, and perhaps this is May, and perhaps as this is May, it won't be raving mad, at least not so mad as it was in March. As she said this, she looked up, and there was the cat again, sitting on the branch of a tree. Did you say pig or fig? Said the cat. I said pig, replied Alice, and I wish you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make one quite giddy. All right, said the cat, and this time it vanished quite slowly, beginning with the end of the tail and ending with a grin, which remained some time after the rest of it had gone. Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, thought Alice, but a grin without a cat? It's the most curious thing I've ever seen in my life. She had not gone much further before she came in sight of the house of the March hare. She thought it must be the right house, because the chimneys were shaped like ears and the roof thatched with fur. It was so large a house that she did not like to go nearer till she had nibbled some more of the left-hand bit of mushroom and raised herself to about 2 feet high. Even then she walked up towards it rather timidly, saying to herself, Suppose it should be raving mad after all. I almost wish I'd gone to see the hatter instead. And that's the end of Chapter 6. A very curious story. Well, thank you, everyone. It's so lovely to read with you. I will see you next week, and in 2 weeks I'll be doing a little special Halloween Red Light Live. See you later for now. I love you, and I'll be talking to you soon.